Now, police are speaking to more possible victims of a convicted paedophile who've come forward after a Channel 4 documentary about the case. Bedfordshire Police's 3-year investigation into Carson Grimes featured in the series 24 Hours in Police Custody. Last week, the 65-year-old was sentenced to life for historic offences against 9 children. The Bedfordshire Force say its investigation is still live and they're talking to 11 new potential victims. Jane Death reports, and a warning, this report does contain some distressing details.
Carson Grimes was a pensioner before decades of crimes against children caught up with him.
You're under arrest for the following offences: the rape of a female aged 5 years old.
He started abusing girls and boys in the 1980s. Some went to the police. He was arrested 8 times, but ultimately he was left to hurt more children over 20 years.
Yeah, I was about 3, nearly 4.
So that's probably when he started?
Yeah. That speaks 1,000 words, doesn't it? Rather than...
Carson Grimes got engaged to Natania Loughman's mum when she was little. He started abusing her when she was just 5. When she was 9, Natania told her mum, and they told the police, but charges were dropped. She was left as a name on Carson Grimes' file, but she would not be the only child he abused.
When you learned that what he'd done to you, he'd done to scores of other children, how did you feel?
Devastated. Obviously, over the years, I've thought that there may be others, but I'd always hoped that there wasn't. And the actual realisation, I just felt like I didn't do enough. The first time when, you know, me and my mum went to the police, I thought if I'd done more, if I said the whole story, then they wouldn't have had to go through what I went through.
Grimes left London for Luton, where he bought a house and marketed it to troubled teenagers as a safe place to stay, somewhere to come when they were hungry, broke or wanted a father figure. Victims told Detective Rachel Foy they were abused after Grimes gave them drink laced with a powerful sedative.
5 of the 10 victims described consuming a drink that left them glued to the sofa, unable to move at your premises. What can you tell me about that?
No comment.
He could have killed them. Police say many of the children later tried to kill themselves. Then, 3 years ago, a man came forward to tell police that as a boy, he was raped by Grimes. Now, police and prosecutors were listening. Natania had waited 35 years for that to happen.
That was the 80s. Children were seen and not really heard. It was easier to just sweep it under the carpet. There wasn't as much knowledge then as there is now. You know, like, we believe our children now. So my mum believed me. That was never a point. But I think it was like too much hard work back then.
So, do we see a successful prosecution or a historic failure by police?
Absolutely, it's taken far too long for him to be held accountable and brought to justice. And those courageous victims have waited far too long for this. At the beginning, they weren't believed. In so many cases, we've heard in many other cases like Rotherham and Rochdale, this same sort of phenomenon has happened. But we are, for Bedfordshire Police, we are absolutely supporting our victims, and we've got some really dedicated teams working on this inquiry.
Carson Grimes got life, but he could still face new charges. 11 more people have come forward to police, and this time they promise no victim will get left behind.